Well, welcome back to another episode of Bound by Banking. Today, I am joined by Shelly Regin. Shelly, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Great. Thank you, Ryan, for having me. I'm excited to be here so we can have some great discussion.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. Well, before we hop in, I would love to just give you a minute or two, kind of let you introduce yourself, what you do, and a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. I am Shelly Regin, Country Bank in Ware, Massachusetts. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer and Community Relations. And I've been in banking over 30 years, been in marketing for the past 15. I teach at ABA, American Bank Marketing Association. Faculty member, I was an advisory member. I serve on the New England Financial Marketing Association as a board member. I was a past president, and I work with mass bankers directly, really, on some marketing programs. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about, how we continue to evolve bank marketing, because we are driving revenue, and all these bank marketers need to be doing that as well.
That's awesome. I will say that was one of you seem very well connected. Obviously, being an ABA and NEFMA and things like that, you seem to know just about everybody.
I know a lot of people. It's been great. It's been great for my career, Ryan.
Yes, which is good. Having those connections in your corner is always a good thing. So, well, very cool. Well, if you're ready, we'll hop right into it. How about Shelly?
Let's do it. Yeah,
All
let's
right,
do it.
awesome. First question I have here for you. So, what are some marketing efforts that you've doubled down on, or maybe vice versa, ones that maybe you've kind of deprioritized?
Sure. So recently we introduced HubSpot, right? Marketing automation. Every marketer's dream is to have something automating all of the campaigns that we need to run, touch points. So I think, for us, really delivering more relevant content to our audience and making sure that we're looking at the customer's needs and behaviors. We want them to adopt our new products and services based on what they need when they need it, right? So behavioral targeting on action or inaction. HubSpot really allows us to see the customer journey, what's happening with that customer, what they're interested in. So we're not just generically marketing. And more importantly, we can see the ROI on those efforts, how we're driving revenue. We launched in February. During that short period of time, we've already generated 125 leads and have seen a couple of mortgage applications waiting for those to close, but also probably about $750,000 in deposit generation.
That's
So we're
awesome.
excited that early insights into HubSpot is already effective.
Awesome. That's awesome. No, I love to hear that. Yeah, because email marketing automation, if you can get it set up properly, it is kind of just that extra salesperson who
Right.
touches base when they need to. It's not overly pushy,
Right.
things like that. Now, has there been anything that you guys have maybe deprioritized, or do you just focus on growth and what's available?
So we're going to have all the touch points, right, where we can. So I think one of the things we deprioritized was really social media, in a sense of, yes, we have paid social media advertising, but having to always be on every day and having a calendar that's so active that we can't keep up. What we've really been relying on is our brand ambassadors, our staff members do an amazing job with, representing the Country Bank brand in their own banking centers, or if they're out at an event. So sometimes we just repurpose their content, reshare it. It's been really effective. When we introduced our new tagline, "Made to Make a Difference" in 2021, really activated our internal brand ambassadors to understand what we're about. And so when they're out there posting "Made to Make a Difference" and they're kind of tying that back to Country Bank, it's really been an increase probably in customers and viewership, about 60% increase of followers and 44% increase in engagement as they continue to kind of ambassador the brand, which has been nice and kind of takes a little pressure off of us.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think we're starting to kind of see that shift in social media where that natural organic content seems to kind of hit that emotion of when it comes to social media. It's not a clean, polished, well-designed graphic with text that's been through, 8 rounds of approval. It's just something, okay, let's get a picture of the group who we're doing a volunteer opportunity or at a baseball game or something like that and throw it up. Like, let's make that human connection.
Right. So that's been great. So we've been able to shift that focus so that we have more of that time spent on really our digital marketing efforts to get, customers in the door and then through the conversion funnel.
Awesome. Love it. Very cool. Okay, next question here for you. So, what data or insights do you rely on most when you're making some of these growth decisions? Because I imagine as a CMO, you've got a lot of decisions you're making day to day, week over week. So, what are some of those insights that you rely on to help make those
So I
decisions?
do have a business insights and intelligence officer, which is a great add to a marketing team, right? A lot of teams don't
Yeah.
have that. So we spend a lot of time working our sales teams looking at really our customer data, any marketing intelligence that we can find, whether that's first party, second party, third party data, and then looking at campaign performance, what's worked well in the past that, maybe we want to repeat, polish a little bit and continue with, or we want to revise something that we've not had good success with. So I think as data plays such an important role in all of the decisions that we make, we need to understand what we're trying to accomplish. We're looking at a new product, we want to maybe look at what our current customer data looks like. What's the current balances in there? What's the rate that they're, kind of willing to accept? Or, do we need to think differently around a new product offer? So I think as we look at, new markets, we're going to look at consumer data in that market, look at, the city or town website to see what the census tract looks like. So we're always trying to look at balances, demographics. We have segmentation. So when we're looking at whether we're growing a new market, we're going to understand what that market need is, and then
Hmm.
really kind of try to find lookalikes that we know we're successful in with our current customer data that we know. Why customers would bank with Country Bank if they have 2 or 3 products with us. We want to try to find similar demographic data that might help support that.
Very cool. No, and I think having access to that data and like you're saying, having that person in that role, it
Right.
can really be a big game changer.
Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of people may not realize that, okay, they have access to this data, but it's understanding it, putting it into a story and making it digestible.
Mhm.
That's where I think things really change is, okay, great. What does the stories tell me? How can I then target these new people or like you were talking about these lookalike audiences and
Right.
things like that. So having that dedicated person there, I think
Mhm.
I imagine that is very, very helpful for you as a marketing
It's
department.
yeah, it's been a game changer in, bringing this person on board. He's been here about 4 years, and I think it's just been an incredible as we've built really our marketing tech stack. We introduced an analytics. He oversees our business analytics, customer data. Then we introduced a new website to really continue that stack. Then we introduced HubSpot and,
Hmm.
some dynamic yield personalization on the website. And so he's just been a tremendous asset to the team, to the bank, and again, I understand that a lot of people don't have that role sitting in
Yeah.
marketing. So I think sometimes it's just really disconnected when it sits somewhere else because we're the people who make the data actionable, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah, he's I call him a unicorn. He knows it.
I love it. No, yeah, we just partnered with a kind of a data AI company recently here at Bankbound who similar thing. They're able to take the data, kind of understand it, break it down into digestible bite-sized pieces, and then of course,
Right,
Bankbound's able to then, okay, let's take that data and let's go market it. So
right,
we're excited
exactly.
about that. So
Good.
very cool. Love it. Okay,
Awesome.
so next question here for you. So I saw this a few months ago on LinkedIn, and I've been waiting for the right person to ask, and you popped in my head when we were talking about this. So if a tech giant, let's take Apple or Amazon or somebody like that, decided one day, like, hey, we want to go launch a full-scale retail bank tomorrow, what do you think is the one thing that they wouldn't succeed in that community banks do?
Sure. Well, obviously that would be daunting for any of us, right?
Yeah.
In the banking space right now, and I'm sure that's going to come. But we can't out Amazon, so that's never going to
Yeah.
happen. That technology that they offer is not something that we can compete with. But what we can compete with is that we are a local community bank, that we're invested in the communities that we serve. We live alongside the people that are here. And, at Country Bank, we give back more than $1 million annually. We have $1,800 in service, 1,800 hours in service time, and support more than 455 local organizations. So, they do their great job in helping support globally, but we are in the community. And I just don't think an Apple or an Amazon, or quite frankly, many of the larger banks can really give back in the way in which community banking does, because we're just invested. We want to see those
Yeah.
food pantries be successful. We're out there serving and helping, whatever that might be. I know, we serve on 2 local boards of large food pantries in our area with our president and on each of those. So we're highly committed at the top of the house, all the way down, as to how we support and why we're here to make a difference for our community. And that starts with giving back and being a part of it.
Yeah. And I feel like the local community feel goes a lot further than what people actually realize. Because yes, no, nothing against Apple or Amazon, but if they were to go open up a branch right across the street, I'd be like, okay, cool. But I don't know if I'd actually bank there. Yeah, I'm sure they'd
Right.
have really cool tech features and stuff, but if I were to walk in, would they actually care about me, or am I just a number on their spreadsheet? Sort of
Right. And
feel.
you're looking for a trusted advisor, right? You're
Exactly.
opening your first account, or maybe you are applying for your first mortgage. You want to be able to sit down and talk with somebody
Hmm.
who really understands, how to help you be successful. And maybe over time they would get there, but not out of the gate. I think
Yeah.
community banking would have that hands down.
Yeah. No, it would take a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of investment to, I think, really catch up with what community banks are doing. So
Great.
cool. All right, last question here I got for you. So I know you guys have been building a lot of teen debit cards and stuff like that, and you've built a pretty comprehensive strategy around reaching the younger generation, the younger customers. I'm curious to understand what's the philosophy behind it. How do you think about that when you're investing, your time and your effort into this younger generation, and kind of what's the long-term payoff?
Sure. So, the generational wealth will be transferring at some
Hmm.
point. All
Yep.
community banks, probably all banks, we understand where that's going. And with a lot of younger generation using fintechs as their financial partner, we want to be able to gain them early. And oftentimes students will bank where their parents bank. We've had a robust program with probably about 40 schools prior to COVID, where we went in and collected deposits through our Savings Make Sense program. We had over 4,000 students in that program. And when COVID hit, we couldn't go in the schools anymore. And so we were
Hmm.
trying to figure out how to offer a program digitally, right? So we're thinking about how students only see their parents using debit cards or credit cards, and they don't use cash, right? Because we're heading into a cashless society. So I think that when we thought about going back and trying to find those students that we lost over COVID, because we didn't go back into the schools. And so we lost that subset of customers. We partnered with a fintech for 3 years, trying to have a third party be the connector of debit cards for kids. That didn't really work out for us. So we decided
Yeah.
to bring it in house. And, was easy enough to say, working with our compliance and ops teams and our business systems and really working through what are the right limits. And again, we looked at the data, what are the current younger customers that had debit card spending, or swiping. So we looked at the data to say, okay, different limits for 8 to 12, and then 13 to 17 has a little bit higher limit because they're starting to have a job. And then anybody 17 and 18 and older can have the regular limits. But only 5 weeks in, we're seeing great adoption. About 100 customers have already adopted. New customers opened accounts, and we're
Hmm.
seeing about $18,000 already in swiping of those student debit cards. So, good way for us to kind of secure, future proof per se,
Yep.
our future customer base
Yep.
that at someday might be profitable for us,
Yep.
looking for that first mortgage, or maybe they're an entrepreneur, but really securing that younger demographic and building that trust with them early is going to be a pivotal point for many banks, right? And trying to figure out how to get that customer.
Yeah. And obviously the younger generation, they're the ones that are coming of age. They are needing bank accounts. And I will say that was something I was very lucky. My parents got me my first account when I was going into high school freshman year. And
Mhm.
so I was able to learn about saving. I was able to learn about like, oh, I want to stop and get food, but I don't have enough money for it in my account, sort
Mhm.
of thing. And some of those
Mhm.
financial decisions and life lessons
Right.
that, okay, if you can learn those early on, will help you set up a much, much better when you get older and you enter, careers and things like that. And so not only I think are you building trust and relationship with these younger generations, you're also setting them up for success. They may not realize it, but as an adult and as a parent, okay,
Mm.
we know these little tricks that we're teaching these kids that they're learning without even knowing it. So
Exactly, exactly. We have a very robust money school program that includes 11, 12 high schools where we're teaching probably over 5,000 students about Credit for Life, which is a financial literacy fair where you're role playing a 25-year-old making, insurance decisions and food decisions and, working with your credit score while you're making these financial choices. So we run 5 of those fairs with about 500-ish students or more at each fair. And, I think that at the end of the day, they walk away from there at least kind of understanding that, oh, wow, my credit score actually does mean something. And, things are really expensive. And honestly, we try to get as accurate as we can with the numbers that we give to these students, but picking a career and then really kind of navigating that monthly salary is very eye-opening for them. So very rewarding for us as well. It takes about 60 volunteers for each fair. So
Yeah.
It's a fun, exciting kind of community thing. A lot of our community partners also come in and support us. So the nonprofits that we support come in and support us during those fairs as well, which is fabulous.
Yeah. And there's so much learning that goes into that as well, especially at that young of an age. If they can play
Right.
through that kind of like a real life scenario, okay, these are lessons that they can learn in this scenario rather than
Right.
having to learn in real life. So that's awesome. I love it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Shelley, I appreciate you so much for joining today. Really enjoyed learning all the insights. I love what you guys are doing there at Country Bank. So thank you again for joining. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan. Great conversation. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.